Welcome to the Hub Podcast, recorded right here in Richmond, Indiana. I'm your host, Michael Allen, and on the Hub, our mission is to share stories of people making a difference in our region. In addition to hosting the podcast, I work with a wonderful team of staffing professionals at Manpower. Manpower is helping companies all over East Central Indiana find staffing so they can continue to grow and thrive. Find out how we can help your company at mprichmond.com. Hello and welcome to the Hub. Our guest today is the Honorable Ron Oler, Mayor of Richmond, Indiana. Mayor, thank you for coming back to the Hub.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you for inviting me back. And we were just talking, we got to figure this out. We're doing this in cold weather months, and we keep doing that. We might have to shift to summer months.
Yeah, well, I like what we've done starting off the year, just having a conversation. This makes number 3 for you and me.
Yes.
And I do appreciate your part in kind of making this somewhat of a tradition for our podcast. And like you just mentioned, cold has also been a tradition.
Yes.
Before we get going, now we're recording this today, but as we record this, today is my sister's 40th anniversary with Manpower.
Oh, wow. 40
and
years.
Debbie Worley is her name. And Debbie is, she's a great sister. I wish I was as good a brother as she is a sister. But so Debbie, I know you're a big follower of the Hub. So a happy 40 years today. So
congratulations, Debbie.
Yeah.
You must be a saint for putting up with Michael for 4 years.
This is true. This is true.
My sister would say the same thing about me.
Well, Mayor, you got a couple years under your belt now. And so I don't know, how's it going? How are you?
It's been great.
Yeah.
It's been great. So yeah, 2 full years in, looking at the next couple of years, all the things we've been able to accomplish downtown, and progress is under the way.
Mm-hmm.
Revitalize Richmond. Just a lot of great things happen all around the city.
Yeah.
Not just downtown, but in the neighborhoods, industrial parks, and
I
staffing
agree.
levels all throughout the city department. Staffing levels are great.
So, we've done a few of these, and so sometimes we've had some lead and stuff, but I think we'll just dive in. I've got a list of things just to ask you about. So, part of, I think, the past year was working on the comprehensive plan upgrade. Am I saying that right?
Yes.
So, kind of what did that entail? What might be maybe just a couple of highlights of that?
Okay. So some of the takeaways. So in 2019, the city had a comprehensive master plan called Richmond Rising.
Okay.
And when I came in, there was a couple things on that plan that the city had been able to do over the few years leading up to 2024, 2025. One of the goals was to rebrand the city. Mm-hmm. And we did that first. We actually went through the branding process first before we started the comprehensive plan. And we came out with a really good brand that harkens back to the history, brings it to the present, and looks forward to the future. We got a really great vision statement, interviewed a lot of people, took a lot of good time on it, a lot of street time on that, talking to business owners and citizens. And that led us into starting the comprehensive plan. So what was great is the comprehensive plan has like 6 goals. And before we even started refreshing the comprehensive plan, there were some other things in that goal 3 besides branding. It was online permitting and stuff like that. And that has been accomplished. So able to check that off and put in a new one. So the comprehensive plan, though, is our you can call it the Bible, if you will, for the planning department for the city. So and you put it online. So when a developer looks at a city, they look for the comprehensive plan and say, okay, well, this is the area they want to focus on industrial development. This is the area they want to focus on commercial development. Mm-hmm. This is the area they want to focus on housing. And they want to look at it from sustainability, as long as it's economically sustainable. We're not going to bankrupt the city on sustainability, but we are going to plant trees and try to bring more shade back. We're a tree city also, of course, and Arbor Day Foundation likes us for that. Sometimes the street department doesn't like us for that, for all the leaves they have to pick up in the fall, and we had a little bit of fight there. But so the comprehensive plan guides the planning department, and it guides developers, and it guides the whole city of this is what we want to do in what neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Kind of a master plan, if you will.
Right. We have the new logo and vision statement. Part of the public survey input.
Yes.
I can't remember. It seems like I remember filling that out. I think
it
was sent to me. But who received that, and how was the response? Did you feel like were you happy with the response on the survey?
So the branding and a comprehensive plan, it went out online. Plus there were face-to-face sessions, and it was interesting. The face-to-face session for the comprehensive plan really didn't have that big of a face-to-face turnout. And I hearken back to COVID. People are doing more things online. So we had a lot of good response online, a lot of good input, but the face-to-face really wasn't that strong this time. In 2019, probably, 8 times as many people came for the face-to-face. But that was, again, before COVID. So, but it was also a refresh, though. So it's just 5 years old. And what do we want to change and update? So the comprehensive plan did look at behavior, specifically consumer behavior. And we looked at people aren't buying things like they used to. They're not going to stores like they used to. But we want to encourage them and want to encourage development to get people back out of their homes as much as possible. So our plan is like downtown for all this redevelopment downtown is more boutique shops and restaurants downtown. The 100,000 square foot department stores aren't coming back to anybody's downtown.
No.
So we're doing mixed development, apartments, housing, and some boutique stuff.
Mm-hmm. So, we were the city of roses, city of jazz, so those are kind of labels that we kind of moving away from.
Yes.
So do we kind of have a label now or not?
Not really a label, more just a logo and the vision statement. One of the things the vision statement did, and we worked really hard on, is we identified 4 different demographics of people that we care deeply about, and it also helped our comprehensive plan. So long-term residents, and then a new term, emerging professionals, not necessarily young professionals, but emerging professionals, and then small business owners, and of course the corporations. So we're trying to incorporate everyone into our vision and our comprehensive plan. So when it came time to do that, how will this affect neighbors? So we're pushing a lot of redevelopment in the gorge and in the parks, quality of life, quality of place, and that is for long-term residents, and also for emerging professionals, and also for making some things more accessible.
Right.
To people who need accessibility.
I might talk about the parks a little bit more because I have a comment about that. So I guess the next thing to kind of hit on is downtown and economic development. We've been talking about it for a while, this $100 million investment.
Yes.
And part of it's the kind of the 5 historic downtown buildings with the partnership with Earlham and the Lilly Grant. And maybe I'm just not informed, but I haven't seen a lot of movement on that yet. Do you think this summer we're really going to start seeing it? I mean, driving down Main Street here, and do you think we're really going to start to see that take off now? Yeah,
the big movement, when they closed on the buildings in the fall, the movement you haven't seen is clean them out internally. So when we toured the building across the street, it was, if you had seen it months before, you couldn't walk through there, just full of junk. And so there has been, that movement has occurred, clean out all the buildings and get them ready. So now we're in this really cold weather. So the next phase is to come in and do some demolition, and then they start the HVAC, plumbing, electrical, and they kind of like some warmer weather.
Yeah.
They don't want to bring in portable heaters for the workers to work. So once they start, it'll take off with 5 buildings. They'll bring, the first crew will come in and start doing the rough work, and then they'll move to another building, and the finished crew will come into that one. And they'll move. So once it starts, it'll just take off.
Yeah, because there is a little bit of a time element to this, isn't there? They have to have these projects completed by a certain time.
I think it's the end of 28. I'm trying to think when the Lilly Grant has to be fully spent. I think it's the end of 28.
Yeah, you'll be in your second term.
Yes. Yeah, and that's the thing about mayors. I'm here to serve the people. I'm here to do what we hope is best for the city, for making it a better place to live and to work. And a lot of the things that I do every day are in my second term, or if I have a third term, I don't know. I mean, our first year in office, I signed an application for a federal highway grant to do some work on some streets that'll happen in like 2029 or 2030.
Yeah.
And will I be mayor? I don't know, but it's important to sign those things and get those balls rolling, because a lot of these things are 5-6 years out.
Yeah. I mean, you just got to take one day at a time and try to do best you can. And I think you're trying to do that. One thing we talk about, this other buildings being worked on. I mean, I'm just 1 block away from my Manpower building is just one block away from 6 Main Street, the redevelopment. And it amazes me how that project's going. I mean, those guys and gals working there, I mean, they're going at it.
They're working. There was two construction cranes over there. There was one for a long time. Now there's a second one. They're just not stopping. Yesterday was a federal holiday, but not for contractors, construction workers. They were out there and minus whatever temperature, they're still working. They have they have a goal in mind. They want to start leasing those end of next year or end of this year, I guess.
Yeah.
They had an 18-month build frame, and they're using a lot of local labor and a lot of local subcontractors, but when they reached out to bid it, nobody would bid for the whole project. And that's probably not surprising because it's such a large project. So they brought in people they've worked with around the state and around the country. And they've been building these things rather quickly. They know they're practiced at it. And the plans, the plans internally are probably very similar to other projects they built. The external, when it comes, so much brick and so much of other facade and historic look and aesthetically matching the downtown. That'll be unique to Richmond. But you look inside the structure of it, they're putting the bathrooms in the same place. They're putting the workout room in the same place, and the elevators in the corners. It's really I don't want to say a common design, but they're practiced at it.
Well, I've really enjoyed seeing them go up. I think it's been a lot of fun to see that. We've got several people that have businesses down here. I think of one in particular, Renee Yelinsky. She's a big.
Oh, yes.
She promotes this downtown and puts pictures up of the apartments all the time.
Yeah, I thought I was going to go out and take pictures of it every day, but Renee's pretty much done that
she's
for
taken
us,
over that up at their volunteer work in that department.
No, it's great. Keep people updated.
I got to tell you, I'm so tired of the naysayers about those apartments. Well, who's going to rent them? I mean, what's become of? I just don't see what profits to speak negatively about it. Let's just see what happens. Get the for rent signs up there and just see who comes. If they want to afterwards say, well, I told you so, that's fine. But I just think we kind of have to get them built, get them up there and just see who comes and wants to live in those apartments.
Yeah, you look at the increase in housing prices and buying homes keeps becoming more and more expensive. But this group that's been doing this for decades, right now they're looking at these apartment blocks like this, and they're finding about 60% emerging professionals and about 40% empty nesters, which kind of surprised them over the last few years, that shift. A lot of empty nesters are picking these up who still have 4 or 5 more years to work in a city, need to be here several nights a week so they can work in the office, do what they're doing, but on the weekends go to their other home or whatever they happen to do.
So,
and it comes with everything. Sorry. So we don't have this. So we have nothing to compare it to. We don't have luxury apartments with all the amenities that this will have. So you can't really say nobody's going to rent it because nobody has rented those kind, because we haven't had those kind. So we haven't had apartments where you have your dog spa, where you have your gym included, your swimming pool included, your community room included, your Amazon lockers included, yada, yada, yada. Yeah. Uncovered parking, covered parking. They'll leave some spaces in the garage. So that hasn't been a thing in Richmond. So it's a thing elsewhere, and they rent really well.
Right. Well, we'll just hope for the best, and I'm looking forward to seeing more activity in the downtown. I mean, part of my notes, we've got downtown renovations. It's kind of focused on historic preservation and mixed-use development. That's kind of what we're talking about.
Bringing back the historic standards, historic facades of these buildings, and even interiors.
And, we kind of have increased interest from retailers seeking new storefront locations downtown. You say boutiques. I mean,
smaller.
You may not be able to share because, there's probably discussions going on about people that want to come down here, but I would think there's some confidentiality that needs to remain with those while they're trying to work out those deals.
Yeah,
but
Earlham's working with a nationwide retail firm, and they'll just come up with a really good mix that doesn't compete with local entrepreneurs. Anything, the whole the plan is, whatever comes as a nationwide franchise won't compete with local organizations. Yeah. So have a really good mix that'll draw people downtown and keep them downtown.
Part of the whole what's going on downtown and some in the depot, maybe some other areas, I can't say that I'm 100% informed, but the Wayne County Foundation has this land trust that's been buying up properties. What's your thought? I really don't know how I feel about it. I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about it, but kind of what are your thoughts about these purchases and how it's affecting may or may not affect things down in the downtown area or where they've been purchasing these properties. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, last summer when there was a closing on the building across the street and all the other buildings, the landlord from California was here and he was cleaning out some stuff and he kind of moaned that I've had this for 14 years and couldn't do anything with it. And I'm thinking, you weren't here to do anything with it. You just kind of left it and nothing happened because you weren't here. So several years ago, and I'll let the foundation speak for themselves, they started that program of impact loans where they instead of investing in Wall Street, they're investing locally some of their money. And then they saw the value in picking up some smaller buildings, kind of the same idea. So we have some smaller buildings that aren't part of this big Earlham group that if an entrepreneur picks them up, and say we've got a 50-year-old entrepreneur picks it up, and in 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years from now when they retire, does a person from California pick it up when it goes for sale and do nothing and sit on it? So we don't want that again. Richmond's had enough of people not doing anything with buildings. So setting up this land trust that will pick up the smaller buildings that weren't part of the bigger package and holding on to them and manage them locally. They have a local property manager now. So for example, Reedmore across the street, they got their occupancy permit a week or two ago. So that's ready to be rented. So not just a commercial space, but the apartments. So they have a property manager. So reach out to them if you're all interested. Those are beautiful, really nice apartments and also commercial space. So the nice thing about the land trust, it's not nonprofit. They're going to pay property taxes.
Okay.
So if they hold those in perpetuity, they're going to pay property taxes. Now, they're going to have really good rents. So an entrepreneur can start their business there. An entrepreneur can keep their business there forever if they want, 5 years, 10 years, whatever the normal business cycle is. We don't have to worry about an entrepreneur picking up a building and half of the new small businesses fail. And then somebody else picking up the building, not doing anything with it. So if the new small business doesn't work out, they move out, they clean it up, somebody else goes in.
So why are they going to be paying property taxes? And
because it's a land trust, not a land bank, and that's the agreement we made. So they're doing this as if a for-profit entrepreneur owns a building, but they don't. They're going to lease the space, and it's still going to generate property taxes to help everybody.
Because I should have done better research, but I almost thought it was almost kind of like the deal with Reed Health and the properties that they've bought, and they're not paying property taxes on their properties because they're a not-for-profit. And so I was afraid that maybe that was an expansion of that from another entity, but it sounds like it's not that way.
It's not that way. So it's just a different landlord structure that won't let them go into disrepair and will keep them updated and keep them rented as best as possible and leased and help entrepreneurs out and still pay property taxes.
Sure. That's awesome.
Win-win.
Yeah, it is. Well, I mean, there's two sides to every coin. And, I wanted to ask you about it because, I think sometimes, again, no matter what decision's made, you're going to have people line up on either side of it. Right. And, but
I'm sure there's an entrepreneur right now that wants to buy that building and I've got $200,000 to buy it. And then if you ask them a long-term question, well, I've got about 7 more years till I retire. And like, well, in 7 years, the city's still going to be here. We need somebody to maintain that building.
Yeah. Well, we have had issues in the downtown area with outside property owners. So it's not surprising that a move like this has been started just because to try to, get away from that. Right. So,
and we're not the first city to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's happening all around the state and the Midwest to try to capture these in a sensible way.
So we kind of have a citywide housing strategy moving forward. And one of it is this partnership with the EDC. And the one thing that kind of interests me is the Star District project.
Yes.
Yeah. And the reason they've partnered with the Sagamore Institute in Indianapolis. And it was the person they're working with is Bill Taft, which was, I know him. I've known Bill forever. He was in Richmond when he first graduated out of college with the Main Street program. He had a great career over in Indianapolis with historic preservation, whatever. And he just stopped by my office out of the blue because he was here looking at the properties. Okay. And I was really excited to hear that he was going to be a part of it because he's really good at what he does. And I think he'll be a great partner for that project.
This interurban program inside the Sagamore Institute is what's being set up in the Star District. And I thought, sometime in, I knew coming in, downtown. Main Street was it with the Lilly Endowment. And I thought sometime in the future we would tackle Star and Vale. And suddenly we got people's attention, Sagamore's attention, Interurban's attention. Says, we want to come over here and help right now.
Mm-hmm.
Let's continue this momentum that Richmond has. So picking up some of these older historic homes in the Star District and renovating them to be owner occupied again instead of just landlord tenant. That's going to be huge. It's going to be a big help for the Star District to bring that back to the neighborhood. And we're doing, I don't know if you have Vale in there also, but
yeah, I was going to ask you about the Vale neighborhood, Vale school site. There's like 22.
Same idea, but a little bit different. So if you remember about 15, 18 years ago, the blight elimination program demolished a lot of homes around Vale and 10th Street Park, rebuilt 10th Street Park and built, I don't know, maybe 10 or 12 homes. I don't remember. Low to moderate income homes that looked like they fit the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And then they ended up with several empty lots, full-size lots. So some small lots went to the neighbors and used it to expand their yards. But so the couple different agencies were sitting on 22 lots and nothing was really happening. So partnering with Intend Indiana and also the EDC's involved there too and others, why can't we build more of those infill housing that we built around the 10th Street Park several years ago, do more of that for low to moderate income families and get that neighborhood back to a neighborhood also.
So once those homes are built and they're going to go up for sale.
Yes.
Is there going to be any special financing available for those folks?
It's intended for working families. Yes.
Okay. Right.
Yes.
What do you think?
And there'll be constraints on there that if you buy this for the low income, low down payment, I don't know how many years you have to hold it for so many years. So you can't just buy it and flip it too. The whole point is to stabilize both of these, stabilize those neighborhoods and get them back as neighborhoods again.
Yeah. Well, what do you think the timetable is on that project?
I think they're starting this spring, moving some dirt and building some homes this spring, I believe.
Okay. All right. Parks and recreation. So part of the park system was rebalanced to prioritize high use destinations. So I think what that means, and you can help me, is that more focus on the parks that are more commonly used than some of these other maybe little parks that haven't been used. Is that correct?
Right. Over the last 3 years, they've divested of several of the smaller parks that weren't really being used and focused on the flagship parks, the more important parks, and keep those nice, better maintained, and also investing in the gorge. So the Parks Department is investing a lot of money in the gorge in partnership with the DNR, Lilly, and others, and the Earlham Grant, Lilly Grant also.
So if we could, and I ought to have Denise on here sometime.
Should have Denise on here.
But
she has the book. I didn't bring the book with me. There is a book.
No, but we're talking like, well, Middle Fork Reservoir, that's part of the parks.
Yes. The Parks has a lease with Indian American Water Works and it falls under DNR's jurisdiction. So there's rules about fishing and all that stuff.
So you've got that. We've got Glen Miller Park.
Glen Miller Park, yes.
Let's see. What would be some of the other ones?
10th Street Park or Star, Mary Scott.
Clear Creek?
Of course, Clear Creek Park, and then Elstro Plaza.
Yes.
And then the Veterans Park and Star Jeanette Park. But we can just lump that all in the Gorge Park, if you will. So 3.5 miles of the Whitewater River cutting through Richmond. 2.5 miles of that is basically parks from Springwood Park all the way down to the new launch.
Are we looking to eliminate any that you're aware of, or is that something?
I don't know if we're eliminating any more. I think we did a couple last year.
Plus, we have the trails. I don't know if that's really falls into parks. But
yeah, parks has trails. So a lot of the parks, especially around Middle Fork, there's a really nice trail up there. Mm-hmm. If you like hiking, there's no reason to go to Franklin County anymore. Mm-hmm. Come up and hike around Middle Fork, hike around other places where we have a really great trail leader, and Brandon is doing a lot of good things. A lot of challenging stuff too. There's some fun stuff in the trails.
I don't know, I'd ask Denise on because I would love to really get in more detail about the parks, which we really don't have time to do that.
So that's quality of place, quality of life. So there's a lot of reinvestment coming in the parks, and I don't think most of us forgot or didn't realize that Glen Miller Park, the playgrounds and that splash pad's over 20 years old, and it's having some maintenance issues. So they're reinvesting in that this year. I
spent a lot of time in Glen Miller Park because I grew up on North 22nd Street. So all I had to do is cross the street. I was in the park.
Sure.
And I remember, good or bad, when we had the zoo. And I remember,
the zoo,
waking up I could hear the lion roaring
Yeah.
at my home. I mean, it's not every kid grows up having a lion roar in the middle of in the city.
Yeah.
But
And the bison. I always like the buffalo.
Yeah,
the
the buffalo. Unfortunately, as some of us neighborhood kids on our bikes, we would kind of ride our bikes over there where that pin was and kind of torment those bison a little bit. They would get a little bit angry, and then we thought we were hitting our tires on the fence, and they would get a little agitated, and then we were wondering if that was a really smart idea.
Smart thing to do.
No, but
no, like don't tease a dog that's on a chain.
No.
But
I remember that. I'm showing my age now, but I mean, a lot of people think they had bison in the park.
Bison in the park, yeah.
We had a zoo. I mean, it was interesting. I think it's best that we don't have those things in the park now, but it was an interesting time when that was there, and it was kind of a neat thing. But I don't think, the Parks Department of our size and city really having a zoo like that, is not very sustainable.
A lot of expense,
not
a lot
very
of
sustainable.
No, so.
But we had one at one time, so it was interesting.
Well, and that's a great thing about Richmond. We're within driving distance of 3 major zoos.
Yeah,
and you have children. I don't go to the Indianapolis Children's Museum very often, but I just heard the other day that's the largest children's museum in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Is Indianapolis, and of course the Columbus Zoo. When we were kids, the Columbus Zoo was it with Jack Hanna's Wild Kingdom.
Yeah,
that's an hour and a half away in Cincinnati Zoo. So you have access to some really world-class zoos living here in Richmond and other things, and even Chicago. Go up to the pier and stuff. So
yeah, I have a couple of grandkids that are back in Richmond now and living here, and we went over to the Cincinnati Zoo and then to the Newport Aquarium.
Newport Aquarium, yes.
Both really great facilities and just a short drive to get there from Richmond. That's one of our assets, is that we do have accessibility in our town to things like that with minimal driving, really.
And you can choose your football team, you can choose your baseball team, your basketball team. It's
outstanding. So part of to try to build up the parks was this 1% food and beverage tax, which kicks in March 1st. So those funds are dedicated exclusively to the Parks Department.
Yes.
So how does that affect the city budget? So 'cause I'm sure the parks are part of the city budget. So in the budgeting process, how do you take into account these funds that are becoming in, and then your funding? So do we have some minimal funding requirements that we have to have for the parks, and then we're hoping that this additional income will help elevate the maintenance of these parks at a high level?
Right. With a new governor and declining property tax, that's kind of his mandate, is to reduce your reliance on property tax. So the park department was struggling to just meet its own budget. So this 1% food and beverage tax on prepared food and beverage is just for the parks, trails, and the gorge project, gorge activation project. I'll say in a second. So it's earmarked just for them, and that'll bring in revenue that they wouldn't otherwise have. So it doesn't really affect their budget, other than in the past, we were able to issue, the city issued usually a parks bond every 5 years, had a parks bond, and it would fund some cool projects, and then you pay it off and do another one. So coming into this new season where you don't have property tax revenue to do a parks bond, that made it not possible. And that's why the playground is 20-something years old at Glen Miller Park. It should have been placed a while back, but we knew what was happening with property taxes. So this will provide a funding source for that. So it doesn't affect their budget. Their budget's already been cut just because property taxes are cut. And this will help all the projects that they're not able to do otherwise. Because citywide, we weren't comfortable issuing another parks bond, so that was on hold.
All right.
The last one was paid off in 23 when I was running for mayor. And I was asked, I said, well, let's hold it because I think we have some other means now, because I'm hearing from the State House that they want us to do something different. And lo and behold, here it is.
Yeah. What's the projected income from this tax? Do you know?
The original calculation was like 1.4 million, but that was before recent inflation. So it'll probably be higher than that.
Okay.
So this will be really great revenue stream. And one of the things I want to say to people, if you complain about, I've heard people, back to some of your online negative people, say, well, I'm not going to eat out in Richmond anymore because I don't want to pay 1% tax. So my feedback to them is this: for 20 years on this, the 1% tax only goes on prepared and food and beverage that already has a 7% sales tax. Doesn't go on groceries. So for 20 years or more, you've been paying 7% to the state. You've been paying 7 cents on the dollar for prepared food and beverage in Richmond that goes to the state and doesn't necessarily help the city.
Mm-hmm.
Pays the governor, pays for a helicopter, pays for some SUVs and a bunch of other stuff. So you've been paying 7 cents on the dollar for most of your life while eating out in Richmond that goes to the state. Why not pony up 1 cent on the dollar that'll help your city where you live and work and play?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
earmarking just for parks, quality of life, quality of place, that's perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I think as a country we're probably taxed more than we need to be, but yeah, in terms of the total individual impact it's going to have on people, I don't, somebody that's struggling financially, whatever, I don't want to discount the impact it might
Correct.
have,
I
but
don't want to discount the impact.
But it's like, if you bought $1,000 of food, it's what, $10?
Right.
Yeah. So
but you're already paying seven times that to the state.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get it. And hopefully we can manage that money well, and the citizens will see the positive impact it makes, and it will
Yes.
have a good impact on what's going on. So we can expect, it's not the only thing, but so we have a kind of big overhaul of Glen Miller Park, that playground. That's going to be part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's going to happen this summer?
A lot of work.
Maybe not.
Depends on our bonding agent,
Okay.
because that's going to take a bond, and we need the revenue coming in for a certain period of time where they can issue a bond. So they're kind of weighing that right now. The revenue won't start coming in until May.
All right.
Once this is enacted, and the state will start and finally send us the money, because it's collected at the point of sale. It goes to the state, and the state says, "Oh, this is 1% goes back to Richmond, and we'll keep the 7%." So I think it's in May when it starts flowing back. And once we see how much is flowing back, we think we know how much will flow back.
Okay.
And honestly, it's going to be more than the original projection. I mean, Chick-fil-A's open now, and they're bringing in new business. Wawa is going to be open in a couple of weeks. They're bringing in new business. So that stuff didn't exist when we estimated. And I don't think those will take away from people spending money elsewhere. They're going to bring in new business off the interstate and from Ohio.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see when Wawa opens what kind of impact that's going to have in that area. I mean, it's going to be quite the facility. I've never been in one before, but maybe it's like a baby Buc-ee's or something.
I think it is. I think that's what I'm calling it, a baby Buc-ee's.
Had the unpleasant exercise and happened to do these staff reductions, and that was all part of the lack of funding for those positions because of the change that you hit on about the change in the property tax revenues.
Right, the governor's changes in property tax and income tax.
That had a significant impact on the city's financial resources. Is that accurate? Am I saying that accurately?
Yes.
Okay. And so
we had to find about $1.5 million roughly to cut.
Yeah. That had to just be awful to have to try to figure that out.
Probably my worst day as mayor, because on October 30th, the council finally passed the budget at the last minute. And on the 31st, I sat in all those meetings with HR, and they said, "Mayor doesn't have to be here. Mayor's not normally there." And I said, "No, the buck stops with me."
Mm-hmm.
So I will sit across the table from all these people losing their jobs and understand that I feel their pain.
I mean, I've been in the employment business now this April for 36 years. And I've had a lot of conversations with people with their jobs weren't going to continue. Right. And it's never easy. It's never fun. And especially when it comes to something like just the lack of funding. I mean, sometimes when the conversations that I've had, and I'm sure you've had some in your career where somebody was going to lose their job because of a performance or some
Correct.
issue.
For cause, yes.
For cause, good job on the HR term. And but this was kind of a different animal.
Yeah,
yes. Yeah. So
it needed to be done.
Yeah, and it's
unfortunate, but it needed to be done to right size government, if you will, and that's what the state legislators want us to do. They want us to right size government, downsize government, and we're managing. So we're relying more on automation.
It created the need, I'm sure, for some government efficiency because you don't have these people doing these jobs.
Don't have them, right? So we have to figure it out.
So Do you see those positions kind of gone forever, or do you think some of those, there could be a reemergence of positions that come over time with maybe resources as they increase? I don't know if there's any departments that you kind of like, man, we're kind of short staffed here, or wish we had a little bit more manpower. I mean, I don't know how.
There could be more shifts to come, and some could come back and some could change. So we did the best we could in a couple of months to figure out which ones made sense. And then over time you'll see, and nothing's perfect. You make a decision you never have 100% of the information when you make a decision in business.
Yeah.
So 75, 80%, you know 80% of what you want to do, and you have to make a decision and go with it. And then you do. And then a year or two later, you decide, well, that was too much over here and not enough there.
Yeah.
So we'll watch. We're just watching, and we'll answer that question when it comes around.
Sure. No, I sympathize with that situation. That was, had to be very challenging. So you were at the State House last week. Was it last week?
Oh, I've been to the State House every week.
Okay.
For different things, yes.
But you did have a recent visit there, because I saw your picture of some other people on social media. So how did that last visit go? Who'd you end up meeting with? What kind of became of that recent visit?
So that was about the potential for a casino in Richmond, as I'm sure you're aware. So that was,
it's on my list,
initiated by the Chamber of Commerce. So the Chamber has taken the lead on that. We were surprised that right before Christmas break that we got a call that Richmond's in this study. So last year, when a new license didn't make it out of committee for a town outside of Fort Wayne, the state legislators said, we'll do a summer study group. And the summer study group has hired this professional company that does this nationwide. And they looked at Indiana and our neighboring states, and they compared this, compared that, and suddenly Richmond's number 3 on the list. And talking over the break and stuff and leading up to this, the number 1 really isn't interested because they have so many other things going on. They want to protect the casinos within 40 minutes of driving of that number 1 spot. So now Richmond is number 2, if you will. And there's actually two licenses available, because one surprise in there is relocating a casino off the river. So they still have the 1 new license and then relocate a license off the river. So we said we need to start meeting with these people right away. So we did. So the meeting last week met with the chair of the Gaming Commission, a representative, and then met with the actual Speaker of the House.
So the driver on the casino is the chamber.
We decided, yeah. So elected officials aren't out here rooting for this, because yes, we could use more money, but that's not the driving thing. One thing we're learning is this is an industry. So casinos in Indiana are different from other places. So one of the things that makes Indiana attractive, I've learned all this. This is all new in the last couple of weeks. A lot of the states allow slot machines in bars and restaurants, and even in churches and in gas stations. And we don't do that here. So we make casinos an entertainment venue. So the big hitters from Churchill Downs to the East Coast, the West Coast, Las Vegas, they're really interested in building resort style casinos with some convention space, meeting space, hotel, and then a little gaming area, decent sized gaming area. So one of the things that's what we're looking at. So it became, when we understood that now this is an industry for Indiana, like pet food manufacturing or plastics. This is an industry, and it's treated. There's a committee in the State House that kind of works with them, issues licenses. It's more regulated than, of course, dog food and plastics and stuff. But it is an industry that brings jobs. It brings money and jobs, and it brings tourism, especially when you put it on a border city. It brings tourism, especially when you put it near an interstate. It brings tourism. So it brings dollars that you don't necessarily have. It doesn't really draw from your community anymore. And these aren't your grandmother's casino where it's full of smoke and stuff. If you've ever, we were in Terre Haute for a couple of meetings. So we looked at that, looked at the hotel and the meeting space, and the casino itself is like a sports feel. I feel like you're in a sports arena. It's just totally different from what you knew as a kid So
I don't know.
So Chamber's leading it because this is a business. This is an industry that could come to Richmond, Wayne County. So it kind of makes sense for them to take the lead, and we're here to collaborate. And the state, we're learning from state legislators that they really appreciate the city and county are on the same page, and we're in agreement that this would be a good thing for our part of the state. And it's really a good thing for the state overall to put a casino, a resort casino here, because it won't draw from other existing casinos around the state. We're so far away from others.
Yeah, I went online to see. There's about 13 in the state. So you got like East Chicago, Gary, Hammond, Michigan City, South Bend, French Lick, Lawrenceburg. Now, some of these might be the racetracks too, but you got Elizabeth, Florence, Evansville, Rising Sun, Anderson, which is a little close, Shelbyville. Right. That's a racing, though.
Yeah, Anderson and Shelby were both racinos.
Yeah, and then you have Terre Haute that you mentioned.
Yes.
So yeah, I was kind of looking at a map, and I could see where strategically Richmond could be a good location. You know, do you think it needs to be seen from 70, or if it's moved to like a site like the former where Reed was, is that too far in town for it? I mean, what? I know you're not the driving for this, right. But what's your thoughts? Does it need to be seen? Because a lot of them you can see from the major highway.
Yeah, my personal perspective, you need to see it from the major highway. But the way this process works, if the gaming commission, the state legislators say Richmond, Wayne County can have a casino, first thing we'll do is take it to a referendum in November. So the people will vote. The citizens of Richmond, Wayne County will vote yes or no. And if they vote yes, then it goes back and they'll start bidding on it. So the companies will bid on it and they'll decide where they want to locate.
Yeah, it's their money.
You looked at the map, you looked online. All the big ones like this, the resorts are typically on the interstate. If they can be on the interstate, they want to be on the interstate. They want to be visible. They want to get that cross-country traffic. They want to have a hotel. They want to capture people like, oh, I can stay here for the night in my trip across the country and go down and hit the casino and play a little bit.
Yeah.
Or watch the game on all these TVs.
I don't know. I mean, if I were a betting person, I would say that it would probably pass.
I think so.
I think it would pass. If it's a referendum, I think it would pass. Just my gut feel with our community, it probably would pass.
So before we even once we started meeting with the chamber and thought about what we might do with this, we reached out to other cities to see what problems or benefits they've had. And when one police chief said, when this was started 4 or 5 years ago and the idea was here, I was opposed to it. Now that we've had it for a couple of years, I've seen only benefits from it. Okay. It's brought in funding that we didn't otherwise had. And the only thing we've had to do, because they have their own security, is transport somebody to the jail who got in a fight. Like, that's been it. This isn't, if you don't put it in a neighborhood that already has problems with crime, it doesn't bring crime.
Yeah.
That makes sense. You put it in a well-lit area where people have to drive to. So we're back to somewhere along the interstate probably. And it's more of a destination, and you don't have the problems you would have if you build it in a town on a river.
Yeah.
And even those, they don't have the problems they used to have.
I haven't processed totally my feelings about it. I think there's probably a lot of good things that could come of it, but there's definitely some negative things. I've been in casinos, and there's a combination of different people that you see in those places, and there is a certain element of people participating in gambling that I walk by and I think, boy, and it's not my place because it's a free will thing. People have a free choice to do what they want to do, but I'm thinking you really shouldn't be in here spending your resources, because at least on this, and you can't always go by looks, but it seems like these are people that don't really have the means to be spending money at a slot machine. So there's a certain part of that is a little sad, a little concerning, but
I agree.
There's all kinds of decisions people make that are unwise, and that's wouldn't be the only thing. I mean, we do these things every day. So.
But one of the things that's surprising too that we found, just like on the 6 main apartments, they're getting like 40% empty nesters. A lot of their workers are retirees who want to get out of the house for a few hours a day. And a lot of the people you see working in those places and hospitality and other parts of it are retirees who just looking for a part-time job on the side. That kind of surprised me. Yeah. So one of the things somebody said, we were on the radio last Friday and somebody said a couple of times, well, where are you going to find, if it's 400 people to build it and then it's 100 to 200 to run it, where are you going to find those 100 to 200 to run it? I said, this is 4 to 5 years out. They're still in high school. all the hospitality workers. Sure, there'll be a dozen or so managers that are more older, experienced adults, but with the housing coming in, then those are jobs you can relocate for. Some of the management can move in.
Yeah.
But a lot of the hourly workers, they're still in high school. We're not competing with the factories and other things here in this industry.
Well, when I met with Val Schaefer last week, when she came on the hub, I mean, we talked about housing. I think at that time the number was somewhere around deficient of about 2,000 units. Does that sound right?
That's what we need. Yes.
Yeah.
And these are quality units.
Yeah.
To be sure, there's some empty homes that nobody wants to buy.
Yeah.
I mean, everywhere.
But so once some of these apartments and down here and houses, I mean, there'll definitely be some more, hopefully, available housing to make room for people who would want to come here. Hopefully, our industry can be stable, if not increase. I haven't heard a lot about any other additional jobs kind of happening right now. We have Liberation Labs, which is hopefully going to start up sometime this year. The number of jobs they have is going to be under 100, but there'll be places like Wawa that are going to employ people. But I'm not aware of any new manufacturing that's kind of on the books right now. I mean, is there something that I'm forgetting? Or
no, there's been some loose conversations, but nothing really solid just now. I think in the manufacturing sector, everybody's waiting to see what Trump does with the tariffs.
Yeah. It's a mixed bag with him and some of the things he's trying to do.
In the automotive industry. So we still have quite a few automotive parts manufacturers here. So I think they're doing okay. But even a lot of them I think are relying on their current employees instead of adding new just to see where everything ends up.
I agree. It seems kind of like it's just kind of level right now. I don't hear of any layoffs. I don't hear of any reductions, but there's no great buildups going on. It's more of maintaining the workforce that they have.
And our workforce is interesting. So the Indiana Business and Economic Research Center at the first of the year issued their report on employment in Indiana. And if you pull it up, the Richmond micropolitan area has 1,375 firms, companies, organizations employing 29,114 people. So if you look at Richmond micropolitan area with a population of 35,000, and you think of the working age of 35,000 people, that's probably only 17,000 because some are too young to work, too old to work. Some just don't work for medical reasons or whatever.
Some just don't work,
and
unfortunately.
So there's 29,000. This is in 2025. There are 29,000 people working here. Mm-hmm. So all these reports saying there's 12,000 people commuting into Richmond to work, 100% true.
Yeah,
100% true. Unless there's some children working in that 35,000 population that are adding to that 29,000, which I kind of doubt, unless there's a lot of children working places. And we are pulling in a lot of people commute here, and they tell us we need quality housing. So that's what we're trying to build up is quality housing.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how things progress in the next 12, 24 months with some of these housing builds, and hopefully we can get them rented and get them sold and
all the money we're putting into parks, all the quality of place, quality of life, all the stuff we're doing downtown, bringing back some businesses, bringing back walkability. We're on a roll. Richmond's on a roll.
Yes, I believe we are. I mean, it's interesting. I got to ask you some question. I don't want to forget here. But on the parks part, I do hear, and you always hear the negative voices are the loudest, unfortunately. But there's a lot of like negative stuff I hear about parks or those kind of things. But when I've gone, my son just moved here back from the Nashville, Tennessee area, but when I visit him there, have a son up in Crystal Lake, Illinois, those areas have tremendous parks that are well used by the populace around there. And so I see how important they are in those communities and how well attended and used. But ours aren't at that level, at least currently. I think we're working on it, but I can see where, and especially up in Crystal Lake, Illinois, the seasons are much more brutal than they are here. I think hopefully people will take advantage of these resources and it will improve the quality of life. So we'll just see how it goes.
You have to look like at Elstro Plaza, the park that a lot of people, naysayers says would never work well. It's the most programmed park, the most rented. The most activities happen at Elstro Park. But if you go to the Winters Farmers Market down at the Star Jeanette building, there's some Saturdays you can't even park down there. Yeah. It's so crowded. So you don't see it because it's down in the valley. A lot of the activity that's going on.
Out of eyesight. Yeah, yes. But it's going on. So back to this casino real quick. So a scale to 1 to 10, what do you think the chances are? What do you think? If you're
we'll
go back a year
over
from now and listen.
Over the next 10 years, it's a 10 because we will be the second one. So the question is, will they do 2 licenses in this round? Will they go ahead and do the new license and relocate the license?
Okay. So you think
if they do both of those, then we're in. If they don't do both, they just do one. They typically like to do one thing. The Gaming Commission likes to do one thing every 4 years and just wait and watch. Yeah. So we're Allen County, Fort Wayne has more than twice the AGR. They'll get more than twice the revenue than we will. So the Gaming Commission wants it up there. The legislators want it up there because they'll get tax revenue more so than Richmond. But after that, we're next because they both happen at the same time. Very low chance.
Okay.
It just depends on their mood.
And I know you're not driving this, but but you're connected. You talk to people. You've been part of the conversation. So you think it's inevitable. It's going to probably happen.
Is inevitable. Is it this round or is it next round?
Okay.
Because we'll after Allen County, we're number 1.
Yeah.
As long as Indianapolis wants to protect the ones they can drive to, so they're not interested in, and they're tourism. You talked about tourism, Nashville, Tennessee. We went to Nashville, Tennessee, and summer before last, and I thought, wow, tourism's great here. This is great. A lot of stuff happening. So I did a quick analysis of, well, what's a tourism in Indianapolis? It's like 3 times what Nashville, Tennessee has between the Indy 500, the NCAA. Just everything that happens, the big convention center, all the events that happen downtown. Indianapolis has about 3 times the tourism of Nashville. You don't see it, you don't notice it because Nashville's so compact compared to Indianapolis. But you get, 500,000 people out at the racetrack on a weekend. That's pretty good.
That's kind of my gripe about the Indianapolis politics. Like, not that I'm advocating, I'm kind of on the fence on the casino, but it's always like, they're always like Indianapolis or for these bigger, they're always going to get the first look. And it just seems like, when are they going to understand that towns like our community maybe should get the first look over some of these larger communities? And it's all about the money, I guess. You kind of hit on it a little bit.
It's about the traffic and the head count.
Yes. Yeah. But I understand it. I don't have to like it, but I understand it.
But then you have smaller schools like Indiana University Bloomington winning the National Football Championship. So it's Indiana's time, and the smaller cities are getting noticed just like the smaller universities are getting noticed.
Yeah. That's a good point. Do you think the toll road's going to happen? Do you think that's going to happen?
I don't know. I understand the governor's. So when you're mayor, one of the first things you do is you get a meeting with a bunch of people from NDOT and understand the state highways and the interstate. And one of the things the governor complains about, and even they complain about, is the semis that cross the state on Interstate 70 don't have to stop for fuel. So 89% of them probably don't pay taxes. They don't pay for that road. And I think that's what the governor wants to capture more than us. I don't think they want to capture our money going back and forth to Indianapolis every day. And hopefully tolls are now based upon license plates. If you've ever gone to Kentucky, across that new Louisville Bridge, we did it a couple months ago. So you go across, and 6 weeks later you get a bill in the mail, and they wait to see if you cross it again because they know you're an out-of-state plate and you're not a regular user. So they wait like 6 weeks, then they mail you a bill to get you both directions. So you send them a check one time. So this will be a smart, if they do it, it'll be a smart system. And we're working really hard. One of the things we're talking to legislators about, people who live in Richmond working in Indianapolis, don't charge them a toll. They're driving a passenger car. People who drive through on vacation, do what they do at the Louisville Bridge, wait 6 weeks, 4 weeks, see if they come back, and then send them a bill if they're out of state. But definitely, the trucks who aren't paying a fuel tax, who are damaging the roads, need to help pay their share some way.
Yeah. I guess
we'll just see. Not going to be gates. It's going to be, the new system is.
Local politics, we have no say in this thing. It's a state thing, so they're going to do what they want to do. And
but I guess they do meet with NDOT because for a city of size, it's unusual. We have 4 exits off the interstate. Mm-hmm. So NDOT's over here a little bit.
Yeah.
in the mayor's office, telling us our plans and working with them.
One of the things that's come up recently is this new terminal building out at the airport is
Yes.
proposed.
That is great.
I think it's a great idea. I think it will be outstanding.
So our airport, if you don't know, and you can get the airport manager on here, was built and during World War II as a relief for training pilots from Wright Pat. So they built this as a place to train pilots, and it opened in 1945, right after the war ended. So that terminal building they have now, that block building, is 60 years old. It's not handicap accessible. It's not, nothing about it's great, and it's really in bad shape. So we're very fortunate that Jefferson Shreve is our new U.S. representative and has an office in City Hall and is on the transportation committee and sees small airports, how they get money. So last go around, Lafayette's small airport got one of these. So he's fought for ours. So he got funding for the design last year, and we got the design done. Now we're asking for the funding actually for the build, and praying, cross your fingers, knock on wood, whatever you do, that the federal government come through, the FAA come through to pay for that new terminal, because they see the value in Richmond. They already see the value in Richmond because they help maintain the runways and all that equipment, because it's an important airport for this part of the state. We have 2 runways. It's less about the city and more about the region having 2 large runways like that. And there's several corporate hangars there, corporate jets flying in and out. And now we have self-pay fuel, so they can fuel overnight without an employee having to come in and pump it. They can just swipe a credit card and self-serve fuel there, which is pretty cool. So
I think we could get some good benefits out of that. Yes. And I think it would be good for business.
Good for business.
It's a good regional, like you said, but I think it could be good for business. And I think it could be attractive to companies looking at Richmond to have a quality airport like that.
We have more land for more hangars. So there's, like I said, there's several corporate jets out there now. There's quite a few that fly in, and they have the opportunity to build some more hangars even if needed.
We're getting close here. One of the things I want to talk about is social media. So I see you in the city, put information out there.
Yes.
You're looking to share through this medium, and you're using Facebook. Is there anything else? I think Facebook's the
We're
main.
on X a little bit.
A little bit.
And a couple city departments. So Parks Department's on there, Police and Fire on there, and then the city itself is on there.
Yeah, I like the fact that you're trying to be transparent. You're trying to share information out there. And the thing that strikes me, because I see them, I read them, and then I'll go through comments. And I tell you, there are some nasty comments out there. The anger, the sarcasm, and
these
the
are
cruelty. Those are the things that get more clicks.
These are the you can call them the trolls if you want. They don't come to meetings. They don't really show their face. They hide behind a computer screen, a keyboard, and you wonder how many of them actually live here, work here, because a lot of them don't.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just they're trying to get attention. They listen to that old montage at negative news sells newspaper, and that's what they're hoping for.
Yeah.
But we're still positive. We're still doing good things regardless of what they say.
I just, these platforms, they unfortunately, they're good. We use them. Our company uses these platforms, and we plan to even accelerate that in part of our marketing plan for 2026. But they do unintentionally amplify extreme voices, and somehow they teach people that being nasty gets their attention. And so. But
it doesn't really get them anywhere. That just gets attention.
Right. I've addressed.
It doesn't change what we're doing and how we're doing it. We're still moving forward in a positive fashion with a positive mental attitude.
Anytime there's been some negative comments through like a Google review or something on Facebook, I've read those, and I respond to every one of them in terms of, offering to meet with that person, hear them out, understand their story, whatever, and they never take me up on it. So they just drop a bomb and move on.
Not their goal.
No.
They know we have public meetings and they don't want to come to them, so that's their choice.
So it kind of came up a little bit, and I'm not trying to. It feels like I might put you on the spot, but I get the impression that you would like to continue. You're halfway through, but now you're getting to a point. The way politics works, you have to start thinking about re-election, and I think you want to do this job more
Yes.
than 4 years, and so when do you have to start worrying about that or planning for that, or maybe it's just always on the back burner all the time? I mean, so I guess
Always thinking about it. So
Yeah,
it'll
it's
be-
your plan to
be-
try to be in this position another 4 years, and so when does all that kind of have to kick in for you?
Well, officially, it'll be next January, February when you actually
That's
file
when you have to file
27.
Okay.
So,
So you don't have to worry
Yes.
about it right now.
but I'll do
So
some
just-
stuff this summer. I plan to do at least 2 terms, and the people will have me. It's up to them.
Yeah.
I have 2 terms in me. I mean, yesterday was a federal holiday, but I was still I was working at my home office and invisibly came to City Hall. And it was just me and a few police officers in there, and I don't mind that. I signed up to do a good job, and I'll still give 100% and work those sometimes 70-hour weeks. I really don't mind. I've got it in me for 6 more years if they want me.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate your transparency, your availability.
Appreciate you having me.
And anything else before we wrap this up? Is anything that we
just-
didn't really hit on that is kind of noteworthy from your perspective?
Just a lot of good things happening. So watch the construction that ends the end of this year, and some other stuff will begin this spring. So just keep your eye out there. Follow the city's Facebook page and say good things.
Yeah.
And then follow it and say good things. So you see, wow, this great thing happened. Wow, they really did this. Wow, they straightened out Main Street and took out the speed bumps.
Yeah. These things take time.
Oh, yeah.
They really do. So thank you, Mayor, for coming on
Thank
the
you,
Hub. Thank you for your service to our community. And I wish the best to you and your team. And again, if the efforts that you're doing and you have wins in that, our whole community wins. So best for the new year. And thank you so much.
All right. Have a good day. Good week.
That's all for this episode of The Hub. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time for another conversation with a difference maker from our region. Manpower is proud to support The Hub. Find out how they can support your business at mprichmond.com.